Hi everyone, in today's video we're going to have a look at one of the challenges that was suggested by a student. So something someone suggested was how to model a banana. So that's not something you would normally use a lot of the basic standard tools in Fusion for. We'd actually end up using the form tool. So what I'm going to do to begin with is I'm going to insert a canvas. So I'm going to top, go to insert canvas, and then on my desktop I have got banana video, and I've got this canvas here. I'm going to put it on to my front surface, flip it around and make it bigger like that. So essentially that's what we're going to have about modelling. So what we're going to do is, if you go to the top ribbon bar and click on create form, this purple thing, I'm going to click on it and you get loads of different options. You get box, plane, cylinder, quad ball, face. There are a few others you can do, like pipe and things as well, but we just want a box. And I'm going to click on the surface I want to do it on, and I'm just going to take it out and just drag, excuse me, about that sort of size. I'm going to hit OK. So the way that form works, rather than in the other workspaces like the solids and the surface and things like that, where you create sketches and you extrude, you revolve, that sort of thing, form works in a much more different way, in that what I do is I start with a shape, then I can right click and edit form, and I can grab certain parts and I can stretch them. So what I'm going to do to begin with is just sort of get the overall outside shape of my banana. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on these four faces. I'm just going to go to the front so I can see what I'm doing, and then I'm going to right click and go on edit form. So what's going to happen now is as I drag those, it will stretch them. But what I want to do is if I hold Alt and extrude, you'll see what's going to happen. It's going to make another subdivision. Now subdivisions, essentially, if you've ever used things like Maya or Blender, which is typically the kind of thing you would use to make something like this in a more organic shape, is the more subdivisions you have, the more faces you have, the more control over the shape you have. So all I'm doing, excuse me, is I'm just, every time I'm going to extrude the shape a little bit more, I'm just pressing Alt on my keyboard, and that's making a new shape. Because if I don't do that, it will do that instead. If you ever make a mistake as well, Control Z is the best way to sort of undo it. So I'm going to come up again, I'll just rotate it a little bit. So there we go, that's better. I'm going to start from here again because I kind of lost where my marker was. Come round, I'm going to rotate it a little bit. Again, just keep hitting Alt. And at the minute, all I'm trying to do is get the rough sort of shape. Okay, and then I'm going to rotate round. I'm going to do the same on this side. And grab these four. Oh, I mean, make sure you hold Shift. And then come round, do the same again. Again, don't worry if you don't match it exactly, because we will tweak it as we go through. Rotate it round. And then I'm going to just get... Oh, made a bit of a mess of that one. Let's start to rotate it a bit earlier. There we go. Like that. So now what I'm going to start to do is, let's click on these edges here, and I'm double clicking just to select all those in a row. And what we want to do is have those scaled in a little bit more. So we're going to just select those arrows and just bring it in a little bit more, like that. And then what I'm going to do, ooh, sorry, I had those selected when I didn't want to have those selected, so let's go back to what I was doing before. So here we go. Let's actually tell you what, first thing we'll do is, now we've got that overall shape, let's try and double click on the edge, and then we're going to drag out to bring it to the size we want, rather than having those little details first. Let's just go along. All I'm doing is double clicking. And obviously it's an organic shape, so you don't want it to look too perfect, otherwise it will look a bit weird. And I'm just double clicking on these edges, because when you're editing forms, and we can move those up as well if you want to, is you can edit edges, faces, or vertices, or yeah, vertices is what they're called. Click OK. Then I'm going to do the same sort of thing, but this time let's try and give it a little bit of thickness, because at the minute it's a very skinny looking banana. So let's just sort of give it a little of thickness. So obviously it tends to be a bit fatter in the middle, and then it goes a little bit skinnier as you get closer to the end. Okay, that's looking a little bit more banana-like. Keep going the other way. Like that, okay. So let's have a little look. Let's turn our canvas off on the left hand side. Let's see how we're doing. Okay, still looking a little bit square. So let's just see. If we grab the whole thing, modify, what if we do subdivide? It's going to look more square, isn't it? Yeah, let's not do that. Okay, let's now grab these faces here. Let's go on edit form. And then what we will do is let's scale those in a little bit, like that. So we sort of get the end bit of our banana, and let's extrude that out just a little bit. Rotate it round like that. And then we need to do the top bit of our banana. So for this bit, we want to grab these parts, and then let's scale in. And then let's sort of bring up. Still want to scale it in a bit. Just trying to match as close as we can do. Reference like that. Top of our canvas. So we can tweak this a little bit more, so I still think it's looking quite square, isn't it? So let's try and maybe make it quite a bit rounder actually. Again, just double clicking on the bits you want to edit. Let's make a bit round around here. How are we looking? Okay, that looks a little bit more banana-like, I think. Not too happy with this area. What happens if we scale it in a little bit? And this one. Oh, there you go. That looks a bit better. Let's scale. Yeah. Scale it in a little bit. And it's just a case with the form, because you're not going to be as accurate, it's a lot more free flowing little tweaks. Okay, and then I definitely think we need to start to bring that in some more. Let's put our canvas back on. Okay. Why is that going a little bit funky? better? Kind of. What happens if I do this? Will it accept it? I'm not overly happy with how that looks. What can I do? Oh, yeah, it's like a fold there. Oh, there we go. There you go, that looks better. Okay, and then I've got my banana. Let's just put my canvas back on. Let's make that a little bit bigger. No, I don't want to mess with that now. Okay, so I've kind of got my overall shape that I'm happy with. I think that looks quite banana-like. So what I'm then going to do is hit on finish form, and it kind of, because it's kind of got that steel look to it, looks odd. If you ever want to edit that way, you can always go back, by the way, down at the bottom and edit, like right click and edit and change that. But what we're going to do is add in a custom material. So obviously we're not going to have banana skins, not going to be an option in Fusion, so we can add in our own material. So if we go to modify, go down to manage materials, you'll get this pop up. As long as you are on appearance, down at the bottom, click here. I'm going to go to new generic material, drag that across. I'll just call that banana skin. Click on image, and what I'm going to do, so I'm going to find, on my desktop I made this file, so I'm going to click on banana texture. So all I did was literally type in banana texture, went onto Google, and I found the skin colour that I wanted. So I'm going to, glossiness is to do with how shiny it is. We don't want it to be glossy, we want it to be non-shiny, because bananas aren't shiny. The other thing we want is what's called a bump map. Okay, now that's actually what's called a normal map. So it kind of has this purpley look to it. What that does is that basically tells Fusion how 3D that shape should be, the material should be. If you just typed in banana normal map, or like bark normal map, as you'll see in a second, you will find these purpley things, and you can just download, you can save them for free. You can pay for some. Arguably you can probably find most of your ones for free anyway. So I'm going to attach that one, and here we'll basically like alter how bumpy you want to make it. Let's just sort of leave it around the middle sort of thing. Go on apply and leave. If I hit A on my keyboard for appearance, and that new material will appear in favorites, banana skin. So I'm going to drag that on, and it gets that. Now it still needs a little bit of editing, but you can see it's already started now to kind of basically give it that banana sort of look. If I then double click here, and I can start to scale it down, so it starts to look more realistic to how I want it. So I'm going to just play around, see how it's looking. I think that looks quite good. I can always go back and keep playing around with that scaling if I want to. So I may even do a little bit smaller, maybe like that. Okay. So then all I want to do is sort of add in the dark bits that go at the top and the bottom. So I'm going to add in another material. So I'm going to manage materials. I'm going to make sure I'm in appearance, go down at the bottom, new generic material, and this time it's like a bark type look that I've got. So I've got bark texture here. Again, I'm going to turn down the glossiness, and then I'm going to go to bump, click on it, and I got the bark normal map there. I'll turn that up a bit more, click on apply, then hit A on my keyboard. Bark is there, so let's rotate my model around. So I want to put my bark on this. Oh, make sure I've got faces on only. drag that on like that. And then same on this part here. Drag that on. Now again, I'm going to scale that quite a bit down. The idea being just that it sort of makes it look like the top and tail of the banana that you would normally get. And I have got, quite quickly, my banana done. I'll just jump into render to see how that's looking. I'd say that looks pretty banana-like. So obviously what you could then do, if I go back to here, is I can just right click, copy, and paste. So I've got another one. I'll move it to the side. So what I might do, if I want to move it and make like a bunch, is I'm going to take the pivot point and change it and make it come to like the top over here and set it. So now what I will do, although I want to set it so it's stood up better, give me a better, there we go. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is just move it across. And try and like tilt it so it's connecting with my other banana. Oh, I'm nowhere near. That looks a bit better. Let's just zoom in a little bit, bring it up. Like that, so I've got 2, and I'll maybe do that one more time. So let's just paste. Let's set the pivot point. I'll set it to like there. And let's just drag it out a little bit, just rotate it. And then just bring it up. And check my angle, see how I'm doing. Oh, I'm not quite touching. Let's just press OK. And then quite quickly, I have just got a small bunch of bananas. So quite a simple tutorial, bit of the form tool, and then just adding in some custom materials and then moving stuff around. If you've got any other requests, let me know and I'll do my best to try and put a video together for you.